I eat one meal a day, drink one coffee, and eat like 3-4 bags of candy.
That's going to cost him when he's 34.
All right, we are back for another episode of Sup Beast. As always, Zane Spruce, Neal Spruce, and with the NFL season just kicking off, I think it's fitting to go over how to maximize your nutrition and how to eat like a professional athlete.
Or how a professional athlete should eat anyway.
Exactly, yeah. We'll have more context for that at the end of the episode when I show him a video of one of the more popular athletes out there and his nutrition. I think it'll be a shock since he's probably one of the most jacked people in the NFL too. But anyways, how to maximize your nutrition, eat like a professional, and your best chances of becoming a pro athlete.
Yeah.
I think it's important to mention also that you have worked with thousands of athletes, professional athletes, professional sports teams. Well, you and your company, that is. Yeah. And then also have a son that made it to the NFL, not me.
And I can see you're wearing his old Rams jersey.
My brother's jersey here. Yeah. And then, Higgy in the back. Shout out Tyler.
Yeah, we have thousands, not just the players, but you got the teams, college, pros, and not just football, but all sports. So we have a complete sports division in our company that takes care of all that. It's got that big. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And obviously through Nelson.
Yeah,
Higgs,
of course. Connections.
All that. Yeah. No, it was just. Yeah. I've seen it from my own eyes.
Yeah, right. You watched it. You lived the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
You watched it all happen throughout your life, and all the people around, all the other athletes too. Yeah.
Important to get that out of the way. You have gotten your own son to the NFL through his hard work and proper nutrition.
Yeah,
I can say for myself, like I've made it to a high level in my sport that nutrition plays a huge role in all of that.
And on that note, that's what I tell people. There's a lot of genetic freaks out there. Well, both you and Nelson, I mean, you might be from a physical standpoint in many different ways, but, these guys, when you, like in football, a genetic freak, these guys are just fast as hell, quick, and they have all these kind of stuff. Well, you can make up for that with proper nutrition. So I always tell people this. Proper nutrition makes a good athlete great and a great athlete better.
Yeah.
So these genetic freaks, if they did all their nutrition right, they just have a longer career.
Yeah. Yeah. I passed the eye test as far as physical capabilities.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't. I don't really stack up to that. I don't stack up to that. We'll start with what type of exercise is football?
You mean what kind of activity? We call it. What we call football. We call the athletes that play football, like soccer as well, hockey, rugby, all of them pretty much. They're what we call intermittent athletes, which means you're going through that burst of speed as much as you can. And then, of course, you're slowing down to some kind of aerobic pace in between the bursts of speed. Like, when the ball's hiked, you're bang, everybody's full speed. You're going through your creatine phosphate system, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, you go through a period of going back to the huddle, the play's over. And so that we call them intermittent athletes. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. So let's talk about, we'll start with the in season, then we'll go to the off season. So what is the nutrition profile for somebody that's like in season right now?
It really doesn't change much. It's just, you're going to lose weight in season. You're not doing nearly as much work as you do in the off season, like in the gym. You're really working hard in the gym in the off season, put on as much muscle as you can without putting on too much weight, depending on your playing position. If you're a receiver, you got to be very careful about how much weight you put on. So it's a little bit different, or a running back. Or DB for that matter, because you need to be able to have your it's got to be great, your vertical, and then you got to have that burst right off the line and so forth as well. So you're always careful about playing weight, and that's all controlled by nutrition, obviously. So when it comes to the in season, it's really about game day. You're just going to make sure that you've got all the right food before, and all the training tables. One thing they do very well in Division I anyway. Colleges and in pros and of course in the NFL, they got all the food in the world that you can eat out there. And
we'll talk about the game day meal, but what is the profile for these, like the macro profile for these high end?
Yeah, it's really no different than what we've talked about before. You got a gram per pound of lean body mass. So when you talk about macro profile, I got to be always careful that first of all, I'm just going to give you the amount of protein you need.
Yeah.
You're a 250 pounder, you need 250 grams of protein, okay, basically, as long as you're lean. So when these linemen are like 400 pounds nowadays, or the high mid threes and high, they don't have to have 300 or 400 grams of protein a day. But so that's why we go by lean body mass. But they probably have 300. They're probably getting that much anyway because they have to eat so many calories. When you're eating 9,000 calories, even if you're only eating 20% of those as protein, you've already got 300 or 400 grams of protein. So it's really never an issue for these athletes to get enough protein. But the goal really is to spread it out evenly throughout the day, and especially your first meal when you wake up, you got to break that fast. You want protein to break the catabolic state that you have been in, since your last meal at night, a few hours after your last meal. So that's why you got to make sure that you always break it with that. And then after that, here's one of the things a lot of athletes miss, and it costs them in the fourth quarter sometimes. They're not getting enough carbohydrates. When we look at statistics of athletes' diets, we really want them at least 50% of their calories in carbohydrate, right? And then good carbs now. We're not talking about bad. But however, before a game, you don't want good carbs. Now, if you don't eat fruits and vegetables and whole grain before a game, you want really processed carbs that go in your system fast and into the muscle quick.
Low fiber, right?
Yeah, very low fiber, yeah. So that's just that one meal. The rest of them, you want to have some decent carbs in there, and they don't get enough. They really need to have carbs at every meal too, because they have to refill their glycogen stores. Glycogen's where the energy for the muscles to keep working longer. Once you get past that burst, keep working and working. You don't want to deplete them. So a lot of them undereat carbohydrates. And it's just only because, carbohydrates have gotten kind of a bad name in the overweight community. We try to keep people away from that, and especially if you're not active. But when you're active, our NBA guys, NFL guys, they really need to have at least over half their calories from a good, from solid carbohydrates and spread throughout the day with the protein.
Yeah, and those good carbohydrates.
So it's almost a 2-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
So if you're getting 50 grams of protein, 100 grams of carbs in that meal.
Yeah.
That's really pretty much what it should be. And then, of course, whatever fats, it's going to come around.
And those good carbs are like just fruits.
Fruits and vegetables, but I don't get too many athletes don't eat that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but they put it in a shake.
Whole grains, right?
But whole grains, like your pastas and potatoes with skin.
Yeah.
Those are all good stuff, and any of those type of things they like. I prefer, and again, we know what good carbs are. Bad carbs are, deep fried stuff, like French fries or something like that. Candies.
Right.
Sweets, those are not the better carb donuts and things. Those are carb fat choices. So, the good ones are just whole grains, and then you've got your fruits,
for an
vegetables.
athlete, sugar has like candy sugar has a place.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, with a lot of athletes, if you're active, there's nothing, your body manages the sugar properly. Yeah. And again, these athletes aren't diabetic or anything like that. So they manage the sugar properly. You can mix it in with all of it. And when you've got to eat a ridiculous amount of calories a day, like some of these linemen, they're eating everything, all kinds of junk, but they are hitting their macros too at the same time. It's just maybe not the best macros, but when you're young, you get away with that.
Marshawn Lynch used to be ripping the Skittles on the sideline.
Yeah, exactly. So, there's nothing wrong. That just keeps that little energy flowing, that's just going straight into your bloodstream pretty much. There's nothing wrong with that because you need it.
So that's the profile that you're looking for.
2-to-1 ratio of protein and carbs to protein, right around there. 1.5 to 2-to-1 ratio.
And then as far as your fat intake would go?
Yeah, like I like 25% of your total calories. So if you're eating 4,000 calories a day, what's 25? 1,000 calories. So that's about 100 grams of fat a day. And you're fine. Now, good fats, even though I know most athletes aren't eating great fats, which are polyunsaturated. So, but that's good. So it's not a whole lot different.
No,
You're active though, so you can have the carbs. Yeah. Don't be afraid of carbs. They are your friend if you're an athlete. That's really important to remember.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get tired. You're dragging at the end of practice, or you're dragging in the fourth quarter.
Yes, certain nutrition groups have demonize carbs a little bit, which we'll talk about here. Actually, that'll lead us right to our next thing. Would you recommend any sort of these specific diets, as far as like keto, intermittent fasting, or carnivore for like an athlete?
No.
Would that ever be beneficial for them?
Unless it was the off season
or vegan. There's some vegan athletes.
They say they are. They're not.
We saw a little in the Olympics this year.
I know. Listen, they say they are, and I'll tell you, whenever you press them hard. Well, okay, so, and again, maybe there are a few, don't get me wrong. And listen, I applaud veganism, don't get all that, so I'm not going to get huffy about it.
Anomalies, though.
Right, but for an athlete that's what we call a 4-quarter athlete, right? I know there's 3 periods in hockey and all that, but someone that's on the field for long periods of time, and you've got to recover for your next bout of exercise, which includes NBA players, and you got to play a game in 2 days, and you don't get to get off the court because you're one of those main guys. It's like dumb intermittent fasting or keto diets. They just don't make any sense at all. Now, if you want to do something in the off season for some reason, I don't do what you want to do, but I mean, it's not the right diet. It makes no sense. They're just, they're fads that people will use. And by the way, I'm a fan of intermittent fasting for the average person that wants to lose weight. I think it's a great way to cut your calories down.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have a time window.
Yeah.
And we've already seen all the studies on that.
You're not trying to maximize yourself.
Yeah, right, exactly. You're not trying to maximize everything. But over time, you're going to pay if you were a performance athlete, your performance is going to dwindle. I mean, that's obvious. We have the 4-hour cycles in the body. It needs to be fed every 4 hours. If you want to maximize performance, that's the goal. And not every 4 always, but very close to the cycle of the way our body goes through anabolism and catabolism.
Yeah, there's no absolutes when you're talking about specific individuals.
And who cares if you're just a recreational athlete, or you can do whatever diet you want to try. But I mean, then there's that's a whole nother topic. Endurance athletes that try to do fat loading and then they switch over to carbs and they go back and forth. That's completely different. That's fuel partitioning.
Yeah, next Olympics we can get into that if you want to be a marathon.
But yeah, so those diets, none of those diets make any sense. Now, veganism, don't get me wrong. Listen, all you got to do is substitute your protein out. Everything else is the same because carbs and your carbs are coming from obviously plant sources.
Yeah.
So no problem. And you're supposed to have more carbs. So good for you. And then just substitute out for use soy, or whatever else you want to for your protein sources. But it's a little harder to get all that protein. Because obviously plant proteins are inferior to animal proteins.
Yeah, and then you're missing nutrients, right, that you would get from.
Well, yeah, like if you're eating red meats, like muscle meats and so forth, and lean. I don't like people eating fatty.
Well, I'm saying
meats.
if you're a vegan.
Yeah, you're missing out on all kinds of nutrients. Yeah. Right. So we make sure and almost all of them supplement pretty heavily.
Yeah.
They have to. Almost all of them are school. And if you're an athlete, we have great dietitians that work for these teams. Right. The athletes don't really listen to them. It always cracks me up. They listen to what I say, which is not different than what the dietitians, but dietitians tend to be more clinical. And you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And I got tons that work for me, as you know, and they're all great because they're sports dietitians too, and fitness dietitians. But, people just get too clinical with stuff, and players don't want to hear that. Yeah. Kids don't want to hear that. Let's just make this simple for them. And that's what I always tended to do for everybody. So we align ourselves with those dietitians, and they take the supplemental programs from us and give it to the players and work with them. The dietitians know what the right amounts are of the protein, fats, and carbs.
Right.
You just got to get the players to do it. That's what they have to. And they design the tables, the training tables for them too, these dietitians.
Outside of the diet now, where is the role of supplements in all of this with professional athletes or professional football players?
Yeah, well, I mean, let's face it, just like every other human being, I mean, you're not just going to accidentally get all the micronutrients that you need from your foods. And athletes are notoriously eat a lot of junk food. Okay, so they're ultra processed.
True.
So you've got all kinds of what we call, redox imbalance. In other words, your oxidation and your reduction is going all over. You got, you got free radicals flying through your body as you're metabolizing all these foods and everything else. So for sure, it's the same thing. To enhance recovery, you want to fill all your gaps. And everyone's got vitamin mineral gaps. Almost every athlete I know has got omega-3 gaps because they don't eat fish.
Yeah.
For some reason, there's something about football players. They just don't like fish. Now, your brother does. Your brother he had no problem eating fish. But most of them, again, they don't. So, omega-3s, plus they'll recover better. And it's a resolver. It's not when they get sick, they get over sickness quicker. And really, if you're a player, you don't want to miss because you're sick. You want to recover faster. And cut your time down from colds, flus. People that supplement just have a much shorter time getting easier to get over those things.
Yeah.
You're strong. So that's the biggest part. The second part is, rebuilding the muscle. So if you're not getting that 1 gram per pound of lean body mass, you're really going to miss. So, and we have everybody taking a protein shake because, it's very hard to get that with food because that's a lot of work, a lot of money for these kids. They make enough money to where it's not that big a deal. But, getting all that right. So they usually use protein powders, make a big shake, before they go to bed or whatever. So they get it down. So that's just really recovering from that. And, or second you're done working out, second you're done with a game, just downing, a good protein carb shake to refill your glycogen store so you're ready for tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's really what it's all about, recovery. Supplementing will dramatically enhance recovery. Because here's my saying, as you know, your next workout or game day is only as good as your recovery from the last.
Yeah.
And you recover from the nutrition that goes in your body. Because if you don't eat, you just shrink and die.
Yeah.
After that. Okay, so, and I always say, exercise does not exercise does not build muscle. Exercise does not improve performance. Exercise tears down muscle, and it's repaired by what comes into your body next. But exercise is the trigger event for what you want to happen. So all the damage you've done to all your fibers when you're out there playing football and everything else, they're all beat up. Damn, and we've seen an MRI. You can take a look at what the muscle fiber looks like after that 2 hours and 3 hours of beating the crap out of yourself. And you'll see all the damage done. Well, the only way to repair it is with the nutrition to make it bigger, stronger, and react to that adaptation. Now, if you don't, it's still going to repair. But where's it going to get all the nutrients to repair? From the ones it breaks down and throwing it back. So now you just keep shrinking until you eat again.
Yeah.
So that's the importance of supplementing and, of course, proper nutrition after. That's really the most important part is being able to recover.
Let's hop to what would be a supplement stack you put on these.
Well, no matter what, everybody's taking a complete multivitamin, all that has all the 20 known underconsumed. You've got your omega-3 fatty acids to help with recovery as well. And then you've got your the other antioxidants, lutein, zeaxanthin, lycopene, alpha-lipoic acid, and CoQ10. We always make sure they have that available. It's just so you can put it all in one pill, one powder. So that we make it easy for these athletes to do that. That helps them recover all the way and perform better the next day because you've got all of these things in there kind of cleaning your body up throughout. Those are mandatory health supplements, we call it. From the performance side, we like all players doing a maintenance dose of creatine, which is like, for them, it's about 10 grams a day, actually. You just put one in your morning shake, one in your evening shake, doesn't matter. But because all the great studies now, we're talking about the NFL now, even though there's soccer or all these that are using creatine now for players, two parts of it when it comes to concussion is any sport where there's a high potential for concussion now, they're studying creatine use. So if you get hit while you're on creatine, the damage isn't so severe because creatine goes to the brain, fills up the creatine stores in the brain as well, just like it does muscle stores. If you think of your brain as a muscle, even though it's technically not, it also has creatine. It's got to react fast under certain conditions, right? Mm-hmm. When your mind's being challenged and so forth, you got multiple things to decide about. So the more creatine you have, the more energy you have in the brain. So now you also can make better decisions if you're compromised there. I'm not saying everybody's compromised there. But what it does do, it does bring the ATP levels up into the brain, which is, of course, our energy currency. And when you get hit, you recover faster. I mean, they're showing significant times in reduction of time you're out for a concussion. And then you also, during it, you're going to heal faster and there's less damage to begin with, and then you'll heal faster. Yeah. So that's the idea of staying on all year. And of course, we know it's healthful now. We don't, there's no downside to creatine. I think we talked about it already once. But
we'll have that episode.
That'll be a whole separate one. Yeah. So that's the other thing that I like on. Now, the other part is we get them all to taking an what we call amino formula. It's got those 8. There's 9 essential amino acids, but you don't need tryptophan in it. The 8 that are responsible for turning on the muscle building machinery, and that they would recover faster. We mix that into their Gatorades. So during practice or during a game, you're drinking Gatorade with these aminos in it as well. So you're recovering while you're playing. Yeah. And not only that, you don't break down as much muscle, which you don't. Because remember, if you break down too much muscle, which so many of these people do when they're undernourished, when I've got micronutrients and so forth, then what happens is your body spends too much time trying to rebuild it and no time adding it. Yeah. We want you to not have that tear down that much, but just make sure that you adapt properly and you completely repair it and build some before your next bout of exercise. So you get a little stronger throughout. Yeah. And that's really the key. So those are the main things. Your these extra antioxidants like lycopene, lutein, zeaxanthin, that also helps with hand-eye coordination.
Omega.
All that kind of stuff. And then the omega. And then you got your right amount of protein. You can use a supplement to get there. And then you've got your aminos in there as well. And creatine. Yep. And then we go further than that. During the season for almost every one of the NFL players we work with, including guys like Higgs and Goff, and so forth. We put them on glutamine as well.
Yeah.
Because that helps if they get a cold, and yes, it's almost unavoidable during the season. You're going to get some sort of flu or cold. They significantly heal quicker. Yeah. Their immune system stays tight because glutamine is responsible, so responsible for the immune system.
So those 7 right there.
Yeah.
And so let's take us through a game day, right? Like with how you would wake up in the morning and what your nutrition should look like through that day. Include the supplements in that as well.
Well, all you care about is what time is the game. You got to pick me a time. I can't just do it otherwise.
Let's say you got the 1 o'clock game.
1 o'clock game, yeah. So again, we would like everybody to get up early. Well, first of all, we want them to sleep the best they can, right. and as long as they can. The most important thing, if they got a 1 o'clock game, then somewhere right around 10 o'clock, they'll start eating their pregame meal. Maybe take 30 minutes to eat. That's the big one. Yeah. Loaded with carbs, refined carbs, if you will. So white rice, white pasta, potatoes without the skin, whatever you want there as far as those type of carbs, right? Yeah. Throw a little bit of lettuce in there. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of that there. You don't want a whole lot of fiber, though. That's the whole idea. Yeah. Nothing wrong with a little bit of veggies. And then your protein, so you're going to probably get about 50, 60 grams of protein. But you want lean protein, very lean, because you don't want the fats in the protein. So skinless chicken is ideal. Fish, of course, no one eats fish. Unfortunately, on that one there, and red meats are fine. Lean red meats like a flank steak, cooked the way the guys like it. So that's pretty much what you're going to have. That's your big meal loaded with the carbs, and by the time you get to game day, they're digested pretty much. It takes everybody's a little bit.
And when you're talking about loading with carbs, how many are we talking here?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about. Well, it gets a couple grams, it's like 3 grams or 2 grams per pound of weight or whatever. So you got to be careful about how you do it, because everybody's stomach's different, right? And the way you process, foods. But you're somewhere around. That's again your biggest meal, so you're probably going to have about a good say 200 grams of carbs, right? Which is about 800 calories or so of those type of carbs. Right in there. And then you're going to be fine. And then after that, you graze if you need to. You can graze on some simple carbs going into, we call it grazing throughout the day. You're picking a little bit here. And that's what you do when you get up in the morning. Morning's hard for players when they get up in the morning, it's really hard for them to throw down a big breakfast. Yeah. I'd love it. If you've got a 1 o'clock game, I'd love you to eat a big breakfast too. Okay? But they will. They'll graze it. Or you can just kind of snack, on something when you get up. Like bagels are another great simple carb, by the way. Snack on that, and then have your big meal 3 hours before. Remember, I used to lay all that out for my Pop Warner kids. I'd lay it all. Here's what you start. You get up, start grazing for a little bit until you can eat breakfast. Kids always have trouble eating breakfast, and then when you eat your breakfast, and then depending on when the game was, the pregame meal was always 3 hours before, and take yourself a good 30 minutes to eat it. Don't try to wolf anything down, and then right before, so you're in the locker room, you're getting ready. You can down a little bit of a protein shake. Or just fill your Gatorade full of some of the amino formula, and you're using that during the game. And that's pretty much it. And your post-game meal should be the same, pretty much, except you can have whole grains. Yeah. Right, but it should be a huge one also. Your pregame and postgame are the hugest meals of the day, the biggest.
And that's essential, right, to recovery to the
absolutely.
Well,
you got to have the energy for the game. That's all being supplied in that, and then you have to have the energy refilling. Yeah. That's what you're doing. You're just going to the gas station and filling up after a game. Yeah. So the meal is pretty much the same because you just ran out of that. That's what you use. You just got it pretty much identical. Just you can have whole grains.
And then the supplements though, the creatine on game day, do you take it before the game?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It'll stay in your seat. When you use creatine, you have to use it daily. Yeah. Which means your body has a certain half-life, but your body's always full because you're taking it twice a day. Yeah. You're taking 1 gram in the morning, or 5 grams in the morning and 5 grams at night, it doesn't matter. It'll keep your levels up. So that you can just mix that whenever it's easy for you. Put in your protein shake, do whatever you're going to do. Throw it that way. And that's pretty much it as far as that goes. And then the other ones, your other supplements, your pills, you just take them every day with breakfast. Yeah. Just throw them all down at one time.
All right. And then as far as, I think that takes us to that's in season, right?
Yeah.
everything in season. And then
Well, it's the same thing off season, except instead of a game, it's practice.
Yeah, so let's go. Well, off season, a lot of these guys, you're not practicing,
Right.
and whatnot,
Right.
So you're in the
trying to-
off season. You're typically working out more. I just had a conversation with Nelson. They were saying, my brother who played in the NFL, he was saying they only do about 2 lifts a week in the season.
In the season, correct.
And then when you're off season, you're doing at least 5.
Yeah.
5 workouts.
Because you're tearing down your muscles. You don't want to tear down your muscles in the gym and on the field.
Right. So,
you're on game days,
how would you alter this? Because I mean, typically you're probably trying to make some sort of strength gains in the off season. You're trying to get better than you were the last season.
Yep.
So what would you do? Do you do anything differently?
No, not really. Just calories are going up.
Calories
are going up, and you might go into a larger dose of some of the performance products like beta-alanine. We talk about that all the time. You might want to use a pre-workout. See, a lot of players don't like using pre-workout stimulants before a game.
Right.
It can upset their stomachs or things like that. So we don't ever recommend like NO7 Rage. But in the off season, they'd love to have a pre-workout before they go to the gym because they're going to kill it in the gym now, where they're not allowed to kill it in the gym during the season.
Yeah.
Right, because you got to kill it on the field.
Yeah.
You're not going to do both. So in the off season, that's all. You're just kind of bringing it up. You're getting maybe some pre-workout supplements there, which is creatine, caffeine, beta-alanine, some vasodilators, and you can really blow it up in the off season.
So if you're going hard in a workout, what are you looking to do before? Like, are you still doing a
exact same thing?
Big meal 3 hours
big
before?
meals, exactly the same thing. Treat that workout as your game day.
Yeah.
That's the exact same thing. There's no difference there. Now, remember, you're in the off season, like I said, you're trying to get stronger. So your calories are probably going to be going up. You can probably eat more because you're not exhausted all the time from that. And that's what you're trying to do. And you got to kind of make sure as you get into getting closer to the season, you got to make sure you end up at your playing weight.
Yeah.
Because nutrition is 100% responsible for your playing weight, obviously.
Yeah.
You don't want to be
too big. Gain too much size on the off
you gain too much size and your performance can't catch up with it.
Yeah.
And we have that all the time because, we do a lot of nutrition programs for the combines, many combines. And so a running back will come in, going on, got a shot at the NFL. They come in and they go, I want to put on as much muscle as I can, 3 or 4. Well, that's probably going to slow you down. It won't slow you down if you can improve performance along with that muscle gain because they're not, they're not necessarily mutually exclusive. They're mutually exclusive, can be mutually exclusive. So you got to really kind of make sure you get all your playing weight correct. You're not going to compromise your vert if you're a receiver, your vertical if you're a receiver. It's great to add a couple of pounds of muscle on though, and then just make sure that you're performing at the same time. So you're still, and again, all football players in the offseason, as they go work out on the field. So you'll know if your performance is better.
Yeah. That's it for the
when it comes to all of that, I think, for the off season, I think that's really it. Just watching your weight, watching your performance as you go in the gym, making sure you recover properly with everything. And again, eating your meals throughout the day.
Doesn't change.
Not really, except for now they've got a pre-workout. You've added your sort of stimulant thing to keep you in the gym and keep you longer because it also improves focus when you do that. That's really the only thing as far as that goes. You don't need the glutamine, probably. You wouldn't need the glutamine in the off season. I know everybody loves to use it because they think it helps protect their muscle too, and it does to a certain extent, but it's not one of those mandatory things like it is during the season.
But I mean, if you're trying to just be completely optimal and
then
yourself,
you can do all that. Yeah, then
might as well, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that does it for the diet for everything. In season, off season. So that's going to take us to the next one where I want you to see. All right. So we got this guy, DK Metcalf. You may or may not be aware of him.
Is he related to the old Metcalf that used to play football in the NFL?
He was.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
His dad was a lineman or something like that.
Yeah, he was a great, I think it was a D, I don't remember. Running back, I forget. He was a great ball player. I do remember
I'm going to pull up the video here for us.
Okay.
Talk about how important nutrition is. Nutrition's huge.
I'm probably the worst person to ask that.
Dog, are you eating Popeyes, Churches?
Nah.
I know you be eating coon soup. Yeah, that's some shit.
I'm a candy type person.
What?
I eat 1 meal a day, drink 1 coffee, and eat like 3-4 bags of candy.
Man, define bags of candy, man. Jelly beans?
See, I'm a gummy type of guy. See, you get your lifesavers.
Come on, man, stop, man. Come on, hold on, man. So you finna go through a structure, a bag of candy. You about to go through the whole. Okay, let's hear this. Let's hear
So,
this.
all right, I'm just taking you through yesterday. So yesterday I woke up, worked out again, came home, showered. I'm hungry. Run to Starbucks, get a quick coffee. That's gonna hold me till like 4, 5 o'clock. This 12.
Okay.
So it's gonna hold me for like 4 hours.
Dang.
Around 4:30, I ordered some candy and a water. So I got, what did I get yesterday? Got the Skittles gummies. Then I got the Lifesaver Creations. They the same size bag, so I just mix them.
So it's safe to say we're gonna see a DK gummy at some point, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Get the gummy, get the candy, get the water, eat that. That's gonna hold me to like 8 o'clock where I'm having dinner, 8, 9. And then I eat dinner, go to sleep.
That's an everyday thing. That's a
That's-
Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday, Monday through Monday. You know, you eating candy like that, huh?
Yeah. I'm a candy eater, yeah.
Okay, interesting enough, and I know this because all the NBA players we work with.
Yeah.
I was doing the interview there.
Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett, yeah, right. So I mean, it's like, you know, we work with them. We know how they eat. They actually eat quite a lot. They're, you know, Popeyes, McDonald's, and all this, you know, little quick foods, you know, fast foods and so forth. And they eat a ton of food. And you don't, now listen, when you're young, you handle those calories well, and you need the calories. So however they get them really
But
doesn't matter. But let me say, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I know where you're going. Listen, so what I would like to know is what his dinner looks like. I'm guessing it's a lot of protein, you know, a lot of meat, a lot of, you know, whatever else in there, carbs and meats. So that's where he's getting most of it. Now, look at the carbs. What I tell you about eating carbs 2 to 1? What I tell you, 2 to 1.
Yeah.
He's got about 10 to 1, which is not bad. That's like an endurance athlete, you know. So because that's all that candy is pretty much carbs, and then some of it might have little fats in it too. But that's pretty crazy. But again, when you're a genetic freak, your body just does things like amazingly as hormones. You know, when your hormones are now kind of canceling everything else out. But you got to pay that back at some time. So we call that Indians call that empty fire. You know, at some point you're going to pay that back.
Yeah. Okay. So he's 6'4", 236 pounds.
Okay.
How is that? And then I'll give you a picture. No shame. I'm just gonna look up DK Metcalf. No shirt.
On the left.
Big boy.
That's him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you buying the diet?
I'm not buying it in whole, unless he's on something else.
Oh.
And again, I'm not going to go there.
We don't want to go there, but that is
ever.
nuts, though.
Because when your hormones are high,
right,
it makes everything. It triples the amount of your nutrition can do in your body.
Yeah.
That's why I think we had an episode where I talked about under 16.
Yeah.
You know, prepubescent.
Yeah.
And during puberty.
Puberty. Yeah.
Right. Your hormone levels are so high. You can get away with hardly any master nutrition because your body's just trying to figure out how to maximize it so you can reproduce soon.
Right.
You know, and that's what it comes down to. That's just the evolutionary facts. So that's, you know, so the same thing happens when guys take, you know, extra stuff. Then what that'll do, it allows them their nutrition to do whatever they're getting will actually work 3 or 4 times better.
And we're not saying he's doing anything like that.
Definitely not, because I'm sure they're testing him. But so maybe he's just naturally freaking freaky. But again, I think there's probably a little bit of...
We're not getting the whole truth.
Yeah, right. We're probably not. And I'm not saying he's trying to hide the whole truth. I love his... He's so cute there. He's so honest, you know. I love it. I think it's great. And obviously, he's just an incredible athlete. So it's all good as far as that goes. But again, you never know. Maybe he had a burger, didn't think about it earlier in the day.
Embellishes
or
it
he's,
a
when he's
little
walking
bit.
around, you know, grabbing a thing here, and not really recording it or anything like that. But his meal, I bet he could have like a 3,000 calorie dinner, which is not, for a player, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's nothing, you know. So he can get a lot of stuff in that one meal.
Yeah. We
always better if he
gotta
does.
find out the details of that one.
But let me tell you
meal.
something. So if, let's say I worked with him and he decided to follow that diet, which a guy like that would never do that.
Right.
He's killing it on the field.
Yeah.
And he's freaky looking.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I mean by that, why would he go, oh, Neal, I need some help with my diet?
Right.
Because he's perfectly happy living in that world. But let's say he did.
That'd be crazy.
And he followed that. He would be, again, he wouldn't change his height because I think he's past that stage, right? Okay. But he'd be, you know, probably 265 pounds of just frickin' freakier muscle than that.
Right. But he's a wide
if,
receiver, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. But again, controlling his weight and doing all that, he would just be that much better that significantly, where you could actually see it. But more importantly, here's the bigger part for him. How old is he?
He's probably 26.
Yeah, see. More importantly for him, that's going to cost him when he's 34.
Yeah.
Seriously, because you're not recovering all the way with that kind of nutrition.
Yeah.
That's why I think he's doing a little more. So
yeah.
No, a little more nutrition.
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 Yeah, we're not.
No, I don't. Definitely not anything else. So now he's recovering, but not recovering all the way. Over the years, that just puts away, and you started getting early aging, just like human beings that don't supplement properly. They get early aging, opens them up to diseases and things like that. See, that's where that's the potential downside from doing what he's doing right now.
Yeah,
now,
and I mean, your athletic
he might be
window,
filling his gaps with supplements right now. I don't know that.
Your athletic window rears its head way before any sort of normal life aging.
Right. Instead of retiring like Jerry Rice at 40 and still a crazy career from your all the way through your 30s, he may end up early 30s being having to be done with it, barring injuries, stuff like that. So you never know. But yeah, he could clean that up. But right now he seems pretty happy where he is right now. But hopefully maybe he'll see this and he'll say, hey, listen, okay, all you got to do is write down what I said and he's good to go. Yeah. He'll feel that much better every day. Man. And he can prolong his career 5 or 6 years. That's the side. It's about prolonging your career. That's why I will tell you that. Every athlete that ever came to us back in the day at Golds, when they came in there, you had your Howie Longs, we had Willie Galt back then. I'm trying to get a whole bunch of, of course, we had the Rams when they were here before they went to St. Louis. Yeah. So we had a lot of stuff going on there. And what was the other team that was there?
Raiders.
Was it Raider? Were they here in LA at that time?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I forget when they moved here. But anyway,
I'm not that old.
Yeah, so we had all this going on. And then players would come to us when they're only in the later part of their career.
Yeah.
Because they're going, okay, I got to do everything perfect now. Trying to get another couple of years out of recovery and so forth. It was amazing. The same thing with a lot of the NBA guys. I mean, with Shaquille O'Neal, when he came to us, he was pretty much towards the end. And we took, 80 pounds off him so he can get up and down the court. Yeah. Much more. And he got 4 more years, after that. And did well. Yeah.
I remember seeing him at NA. So.
Yeah, he was in our place all the time. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for the episode. Yeah. I think it's a good way to wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed it. Catch you in the next one. Like and subscribe if you like the video. And we'll see you then. Bye.